after graduating from BYU, I could have stayed here. There's a lot of incredible opportunities. I met my wife here. My kids were born here. I have a house here in Utah. It would be very selfish of me to just, after all that I have been given, to focus on just me and my little family while I could be serving millions, to start with my own community of 60,000 people.
Super stoked for today. We have Samake on today, running for Mali president. And I don't even want to overly explain too much because I think everything you're doing is you'll just do a much better job at explaining it. But basically, Mali's under a military regime, and the former president stepped down, and now TBD, sometime eventually there's going to be another election, and all the candidates have been running for 4 years straight, pretty much. Is that right?
Pretty much, yes.
So well, give us a little more insight on how that's been going, what that's like, what your plans are moving forward.
Well, Mali has been or had been known for a stable democracy in Western Africa for a very long time. And suddenly we got thrusted into this cycle of military intervention. President IBK, who passed away 3 years ago, was overthrown. And some believe that he organized a coup to escape the popular protests that went on for 5 months, demanding for him to step down. And as he was unwilling to do, and the risk of doing so, he made the military intervene to take over the country. This was in 2020. Since then, the country is in uncertainty. They have made some drastic reforms. They took the position to disconnect with the Western world to shield themselves from any pressure demanding for organizing the elections. They got the country out of regional organizations like ECOWAS. All this for the main purpose of maintaining themselves into power. For that reason, the country is now in an uncertain political instability. As far as I'm concerned, I ran for president in 2013. I ran for president in 2018, and I was serving as mayor of Ouelessebougou, which is a sister city of Salt Lake City. I was mayor for 6 years over there. And then in 2013, when I didn't win the election, the president appointed me as Mali's ambassador to India and to 9 other countries in Southeast Asia, including Bhutan, Brunei, Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand, and Bangladesh as well. So these are really important potential partnership that the president wanted me to build for our country. But he organized the election in 2018 and rigged the election. And I had resigned from my position as ambassador to come and run against him. But he rigged the election after that failed election, because 5 years he was not able to make any important impact in the daily life of the people. So people were very frustrated. And on top of that, he rigged the election, and so people protested against him.
So a quick question, so previous to this president, the relationship was really good with the United States or other countries.
Oh, of course, yes.
And then
yes.
he comes into power, cuts that off, and is kind of segments out and is like, hey, I'm the person you need to trust, not all these outsiders, and kind of gains the trust of the people, or tried to at least.
Not necessarily, because he shunned the Western world, countries who value democracy, who uphold the democratic principles, but went and started relationship with Russia, inviting the paramilitary group from Russia, Wagner, to come and help protect the presidency, the institutions of this military transition, but also to fight alongside Mali's army against terrorism and rebellion in the northern part of the country. So before this military regime, Mali was a full-blown democracy. We had interaction with the whole world. And we had a very aggressive diplomacy where our culture and as a soft power, but also Mali is very abundantly rich in natural resources. You name it, the country has it, including uranium, gold, diamond. Mali is the third producer of gold in all of Africa. We are the number one producer of cotton in all of Africa. Today, we are the number one lithium. We have the number one lithium mine in the country. That's to tell you how
So the
wealthy.
people must be really rich right now.
Paradoxically, no. Mali is one of the poorest country in the world in terms of opportunities for the people, but the wealth is there now being used. The number one ingredient to change our country, to take the Mali forward, is through leadership with integrity, a servant leadership, putting the people first and center of any public policy has been lacking. And the gold, the diamond, the hydrogen, the lithium have not benefited the people. It has the return has gone into the pocket of corrupt leaders, and we have to change that. We have to make sure that leadership is more focused on building the infrastructure necessary for development. Mali is in no business waiting for foreign aid. With so much natural resources that we have, we should be contributing to the wealth of the world, not taking away from the world.
Well, it sounds like there's just so much art. It's like the opportunity is so ripe. So there's like, it makes a lot of sense why Russia and China would be so interested in establishing partnerships with
Oh,
Mali.
yes.
And since that's happened, what has the effect been on like the everyday lives of the economy and the citizens?
Oh, you know, as Mali is not just the natural resources, it's also a geopolitical positioning. Through Mali, you can control traffic in all of the Sahel regions. We have a very interesting town called Tessalit, that has been um, soaked by many superpowers, including France, Russia, the United States, and others. They wanted to establish AFRICOM in Mali.
Well, it
But
makes sense. The country's huge.
it is
Like
huge.
it's what
It's
you're saying. It's like twice the size of
twice as
Texas.
Texas, with only 23 million people. Two-thirds of the country is in the Sahara Desert. But yes, people of Mali are suffering right now because of the decisions we've made to cut ourselves off of the mainstream and focusing relationship with Russia, Turkey, and China. There is no problem having relationship with those countries, but cutting off relationship with other countries is a problem. So today, we're not adding values to these abundant resources that we have. The gold didn't shine for the people of Mali because there was no added value. We don't have a refinery in Mali, being the third producer of gold in Africa. We are now just extracting lithium, and taking it to China. China doesn't need Mali's lithium. China has incredible deposit of lithium, but they do it for control of and monopoly.
They've been
But
trying to control resources. It's not just in
exactly,
Africa. They do have it in South America. And
exactly.
for some reason, we in the United States are still getting those minerals from them as well.
That's why we want to collaborate with those who can help us add value to those minerals in locally in Mali. Lithium today is a critical mineral that can be used for many energy transfer opportunities. Tesla can also use a lot of batteries, lithium batteries in Mali. So I'm appealing, for example, to Elon Musk's organization to see if they will be interested in considering Mali as in partnership in building a lithium battery manufacturing plant, for example, in Mali. That will
Think of
create
the
a lot of jobs.
jobs.
That the job that will create is incredible. So governments don't create wealth. It's the business environment the government can create will facilitate enterprises to come and create jobs and wealth for the people. And that's really where I stand. I want to make sure that we have an investment climate that is very incentivizing, that brings people in Mali, but we want to make it such that there is zero corruption, that everything is transparent, that we can work with people, companies from China, United States, Europe, anywhere in the world. Mali is open for business, and that's the kind of leadership I want to bring to my people.
I love that. And so, like, comparing what's currently happening and what the lives are like to the individuals of Mali
Mm.
versus what their lives would be like having a government like the one you're proposing,
Mm-hmm.
what's the comparison there?
Well, there is no comparison. I mean, people, when the number one thing is equal protection from the rule of law is very important. Freedoms, um, um, freedom of opinion, of religion, of press are very important for human development. People of Mali will be much happier having a say in the decisions that affect our lives. But today, the decision-making process is top-down, is almost autocratic because the leaders today are not appointed by the people. They're self-appointed by gunpoint. So, of course, the people of Mali will be much better served. Today, we have an energy crisis in Mali. We have a political crisis in Mali. So we will we will benefit substantially from a democratic rule where people will have a say, where people can elect their leaders, can make them accountable. And with a military rule, we don't have that opportunity. So many people are excluded from contributing to the well-being of the Malian populations.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And so, what even got you like interested in all of this? Because I mean, did you grow up involved in politics? Well, where did it all begin?
Well, it began with frustration. I started really getting engaged politically in when I was in college, and I ran for mayor.
You're in the
unsuccessfully.
U.S. or were you in college first in Mali?
I was born and raised in Mali. I came to the U.S. When I was in my 30s, and
Was that challenging?
it was challenging, but it was incredible. The opportunity that opens where I am today, coming from a dire poverty, to be where I am today is just a miracle, but also hard work and incredible support from friends and family.
What was your family like? Because you said you're like in dire poverty to like getting to 30, coming to the U.S. Like,
well, you know,
how does that happen?
I came to the U.S. I didn't have a dime on me, and I never had a bank account. I never had a car. Never dreamed about having my own home. You know, it was different because there was no hope. You know, we were existing. We were not living, I would say. But because of the opportunities I was given to come and gain knowledge from Brigham Young University and returning to serve my people, I do believe that leadership is service. If you look at my social media posts or my main theme is to lead is to serve, nothing less. And I was very frustrated with the way our city was run. My city is named Ouelessebougou, and many people in Utah know about Ouelessebougou because there was a 5K run here every year benefiting the people of Ouelessebougou. So after graduating from BYU, I could have stayed here. There's a lot of incredible opportunities. I met my wife here. My kids were born here. I have a house here in Utah. The comfort, the liberties, the freedoms that you have, I could have stayed here and enjoyed that. But I thought, you know, it would be very selfish of me to just, after all that I have been given, to focus on just me and my little family while I could be serving millions to start with my own community of 60,000 people. So I decided to go and run for mayor in 2009 and move to Mali and put my knowledge, the things that I have learned from BYU, the things I've seen these communities here, and I went and applied transparency and good communication to lift my community out of poverty. Ouelessebougou was one of the poorest cities in the country. We were ranked 699th out of 703 cities in the country. The bottom 5 poorest of a poor nation. You cannot even imagine how terrible that could be. And I was able to lift the country within 5 years to number 7 in the nation. All this through good governance, all this through transparency, and most importantly, through integrity. the people believed in me. They saw that my focus was not my own pleasure or my own resources or my own um, status. It was all about them. People couldn't believe that anyone would leave the comfort of America to go in the rural Mali for the purpose of serving. People were skeptical at first when they saw that this was real.
It's too good to be true.
They embraced it. They supported me, and we together we were able to accomplish incredible transformation in our communities, bringing running water, electricity, hospitals.
So there wasn't running water before?
No. There was
Or
no
electricity?
No. We brought all of this. Even hospitals. We had very one tiny hospitals for 60,000 people, and people would come from all over. So it was centrally located. Now I was able to build small hospitals to make it sure that no one can travel more than 5 miles.
Well, I can only imagine what the quality of care is like, having just one hospital,
Oh,
probably
my goodness.
overloaded, and
No equipment. And I started building relationship here in Utah, in Kansas City, in Texas, bringing medical doctors, dentists, OBGYN, ophthalmologists, and bringing those, collaborating with their counterpart in my country to exchange knowledge and experience. So all that, people all over the country will come to my little city for treatment, free care, free eye care, free OBGYN surgeries. It was transformational. So all that, we built here an organization called Empower Mali, where many Utahns have been supportive and contributing financially to help us make a lot of concrete actions happen in terms of social actions, building schools in rural areas where children have to walk 3 miles one way to get to the school building. So we've done some incredible things, but staying here in America, I couldn't have nearly accomplished as much as I did. It would have, I would have been very comfortable. I would have lived in safety and also in freedoms. But we made a sacrifice to go home and contribute to the well-being of our people.
that's incredible. And I this might not seem like a big deal to you, but I think to like me and a lot of other people hearing that you didn't have electricity, running water, hospitals, like you said you were just like existing. I just want to know more, like, what was your family like? Like, what was your family like you were born to? Like, what was, what take, I want to go on that journey with you. Like you're born and go on this. I'm assuming it wasn't like up all of a sudden you're 30 in the United States.
No.
Like, how did you even get to the point to even no running water? Really, no, it sounds like not a lot of opportunity to
Well,
being able to even get here.
No, that's why my life is a miracle. It's miracles and miracles that I have seen time and time again. We were in dire poverty. My family, my dad had several children. I have 17 brothers and sisters. Of course, my dad couldn't afford for all of us to have a decent even meal, to 3 meals a day. He made a drastic decision that to break the cycle of poverty in his home, he's going to send all of his children to school, which was very unusual. And neighbors in the village thought my dad went crazy. They call him up and say, "What are you doing? Sending all of your children to school? Don't you know that by doing so, your family will go hungry?" And his answer was always, "My family will go hungry, but my family will not know the darkness of illiteracy." So he sent boys and girls to school. And quite frankly, I wish he were here today to see the impact of that decision that made on our family to actually break the cycle of poverty, but also for his son to be in leadership in Mali. But clearly, the neighbors were not wrong. We went hungry. It was hard. Some nights we'll go to bed hungry on empty stomach. We couldn't even sleep. My mother will wake up in the middle of the night to tie our stomach with her handkerchief just to ease the pain of hunger because there was no other solution. But we made that sacrifice to get education. But unfortunately, you don't get a job after that. So I met a family from Colorado who were impressed with the work I was doing. After education, I was teaching for free. I didn't have any money. Um, and I was doing the radio shows to translate the Constitution into our native language because 20% of the people didn't know how to read and write. Only 20% of the people knew how to read and write. So I had to translate
So,
the constitutions, the marriage code.
so you
Everything.
have like English, and then you have another language in Mali,
No, no, no. We
or
don't have English in Mali. We have French. French is our
oh,
official language, but we have about 12 local languages in Mali, national languages in Mali. But so I speak French as well. Most people do speak French because that's the language of school and administration in Mali. So what I wanted to say is that um, when I came here, I didn't know that this kind of thing existed. When the family in Colorado, the Winstons, invited me to come to America, I was reluctant. I was happy serving in my community, and
how are
people.
you making money if you like weren't getting paid to teach? Like what?
I was actually a linguistic and cultural guide for Peace Corps that would pay $1 an hour, which was a lot of money back then because $1 at that time equals 700 of our currency. So I was making more money doing that side work than the teachers were paid. So, but the key is opportunities. When I came to America, I heard a lot of people complaining about what's going on here. I just couldn't stop laughing. I said, "You guys have no idea how good you got it, and you're taking this for granted. These incredible freedoms that you have, the freedom to escape preventable diseases, the freedom to walk to a tap and just turn the tap on and have running water, the freedom of light and electricity. People have no idea, but you are past that. You take it for granted. But when I came here, I saw Costco and Walmart. Those are villages of food that I could see in front of me. It was overwhelming, and my only thought was, I want this for my country, not for just me. I want everybody in Mali to have this much opportunity, this much freedom. And that is what really got me motivated to learn public policy from BYU and then move home and try to implement that. And quite frankly, on a smaller scale, the people of Ouelessebougou became enjoyed more freedom, more opportunities than the other communities nearby, just because of the kind of leadership that we provided for them. It is not a mystery. It's not impossible. We are now condemned to poverty in Mali. We are now condemned to darkness. We are now condemned to ill governance. We can change it and become a beacon, a country on the hill in Africa, and be also able to be a catalyst to bring other countries to emulate good governance.
That's incredible.
Mm.
So like you come to the US, you've seen this example. Is Christianity big in Mali or
No, Mali is 90+% Muslim. So
okay.
Islam is the faith. I converted from Islam to Christianity to the LDS faith in 2000. I was already in my 30s. It transformed me. And knowing that the Lord Jesus Christ has come on earth to serve, his sense of service is really what motivates me today. And that is what I'm trying to emulate in my life, living to serve. I can stay here in America, but obviously America doesn't need me. America doesn't need me. My people do. Mali needs me. There are not many people with the kind of training I went through in life and the kind of formal, rigorous education that I attend here in America. I want to bring America home. I want to bring the opportunities to the people of Mali. I want to make sure that freedoms ring everywhere in our country. We don't have to travel across the ocean to go to European nations to seek a better life. We can make a better life home. All we need is the proper leadership. All we need is a leadership of service.
I couldn't agree more.
Mm.
So when you converted, Was that like a big deal for your family, your
It was. It
friends,
was.
or like
Well,
what?
well, yeah, of course. But I was very excited when I found out about the LDS faith. When I met members of the faith, and I went to BYU, I saw the light shining in these young people. I wanted that for myself. I thought that this is something incredible, and I was so enthusiastic. And I asked for missionaries to teach me. They didn't come after me. I went to them because I wanted. Of course, it came with a lot of struggles because the church had at that time a policy not to convert, not to baptize a Muslim returning to a Muslim country for fear of persecution.
So is
But
there a big persecution in Mali for?
no, they thought it would be, but Mali being predominantly Muslim, and the church had it's a policy. It's not just targeted at one person. They just
Yeah.
didn't want to put people at risk, and but they didn't know my circumstances, and we pleaded, and finally got myself baptized here 2 days before I flew back home, and with enthusiasm and to share my newfound faith with my family, and it was not well received. Of course, people pushed back, and but I kept my faith and nurtured it and continued to grow my faith.
So what's it like now? Is there religious persecution in Mali, or are they pretty accepting?
It is accepting. In Mali, if you go outside of Mali, there is this perception that people are intolerant. But no, actually, there's a lot of religious tolerance. Catholics, Protestants, and Muslims live together in harmony. Of course, there are extremists in every nation.
Yeah.
In Mali, if you go to some areas of the country, people claim or pretext the faith, but it actually for other motives that they use a religion to use violence against people to get the economic gain or political gain or other personal gain. But in reality, Malians are very accepting. And I was elected mayor in a community that's predominantly Muslim. I'm running for president in a country that's predominantly Muslim. And of course, at first, people were a little bit concerned, worried because they don't know about my faith, and they didn't vote massively to support me mostly because of the faith. But I think they've come to realize that faith is not a divider. It's what the leader can do for the people. And my name recognition today is growing. I'm one of the biggest proponent of religious freedom, but also interfaith dialogue. And I recently been very well connected with the president of the High Islamic Council of Mali, where together we promote interfaith dialogue. A Christian and the highest leader of the Islamic faith standing side by side, and it's a strong message for interfaith dialogue.
So do you have any like political inspirations of like people who are presidents or people that you would like to emulate in your presidency, or other examples that may be working well kind of worldwide?
Worldwide, I would say Lee Kuan Yew from Singapore. I was in Singapore. I met with his son, who is currently the prime minister of Singapore. We had an incredible at length conversation on transformational leadership, and what Singapore was able to accomplish is no less than a miracle. But it's all through leadership, but also vision, and that's the kind of leadership I want to bring to my people. But, some controversial leaders like Paul Kagame are also good examples that I try to emulate. But there are many, many examples. But clearly, I will create my own path as a leader because Mali is very particular in terms of how the people expect leadership to be.
There's a lot of nuance.
Absolutely.
It's not similar to
Absolutely.
really anywhere else in the
No,
world, even
no.
other countries in Africa.
Mm.
Like, and I just hope people realize like what you're saying, because I think it's so powerful in that, like, the current situation, like a lot of countries are coming in to provide aid and services to the residents. But if you look at a country like Singapore, is
Mhm.
they're one of the richest Is it the richest country in the world?
It's one of them.
One of
Yeah,
the richest countries in the
Yeah,
world,
yeah, I know.
where people are leaving and like they're able to really have a booming economy where one of the wealth, everyone's so wealthy there. And
The paradox, though, they have no natural resources. They don't have even drinking water, but yet they are exporting efficiency. They are exporting transparency. Leadership in Singapore is all about service. There's absolutely no um, perception of corruption. So it's a very well managed country. Of course, there are things that we could change. It's a very heavily taxed community society, but of course, it's a nation city. They have to invent everything. They have absolutely no natural resources, including drinking water. But through leadership, we can overcome our challenges, and the leadership is very important. They were able to make a redistribution of power, not just redistribution of fund, but the way power is distributed between members, the different composition of the community is peace building, brings a lot of social stability, but also political stability in Singapore. Uh, Through that, they're able to enact policies to take the country forward, and also to make sure that leadership is total transparency, that corruption is a country that is almost corruption free. There's no zero corruption, but close. They're quite close to that.
well, that's the thing. I think like people, if they realize like there's so many resources in Mali, like there's this, I wouldn't say it's unexplainable, but there's this poverty where if it was managed correctly with the right type of policies, with someone who has the right vision, with someone who's been around the world, seen these countries firsthand, like literally it turns not into like, just listen to me and listen to my promises, but here's the checklist. Like you have the checklist ready to go and enact all of the policies and things that need to happen. It's just as getting there and starting to put one thing after another and make Mali one of the wealthiest countries in the world.
Well, that's the plan. That's the plan, and it is not impossible. I have a pathway, and I created a very bold platform to build peace, stability, and prosperity for the people of Mali.
What opposition is there to this? Because like I'm assuming it's not like, hey, just get elected and you'll waltz in here and everything will go amazingly.
No. There's a lot of opposition. The number one opposition there is the establishment, because one of the good things about this military transition is they were able to break the establishment. Most of the people involved in future governance and past governance who have embezzled money now have fled the country because of the pressure that the military has placed on them. We hope, and that has been my push, working with the militaries. I told them there is no after transition without the military, because they're not going to hand the power and just turn their back. They would like to have some roles. They will have to have some perspectives after the elections, and which I guarantee that they will have a role to play. But reality is that the country has been clean of corrupt leadership that really had taken the country in hostage for the last 30 years in the name of democracy. But they were not serving, they were not bringing results. The country, we are in dire need of electricity right now. People have at most 8 hours of electricity a day. And government's not able to solve that problem, even though it is not a crucial.
It's not complicated.
It's not so complicated to resolve. And I have proposed solutions. I write my political op-ed to the government and inform the citizens of how we can resolve our multi-dimensional crisis, because we have political crisis, we have a security crisis, we have an economic crisis. Everything is in crisis mode in Mali. So it takes really a strong leadership. It takes a leadership with vision, but most importantly, a leadership with integrity to solve our
I was
problems.
waiting for you to say that because I think the integrity portion, I think a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people will, I mean, sometimes I even glaze over. I'm like, yeah, integrity. Everyone needs to have honesty. But what like people don't realize, and even took me a little bit to think about this, is
Mm.
by keeping the people in poverty, you as the government, whether it's a military government or a president or a dictator or any type of leader, stay in power. And by
Mm.
keeping people undereducated, without electricity, without opportunity, you can maintain that power over those people. And then as outside countries like Russia, China, or whoever, they come and profit off your resources.
Mm-hmm.
There's somebody who's maintaining that power, whose pockets are being lined
Of
by
course.
millions, maybe billions of dollars from those resources that are being sucked
Oh,
out of
the stake is
the country.
really high. The stake is high. I called the past leadership as colonial administration. The colonizers came and exploited and take the resources out of the country to their country. And after they left, the leadership that followed had no other reference but those same masters. So if you have no other reference but your master, so you end up behaving like your master. And so the leadership became very exploitative. They take the resources, they take the money into offshore banks. They send their children to universities outside of America, outside of Mali. When they get sick, they go to hospitals outside of the country. So they didn't invest in the infrastructures. They didn't invest in the education of the people. So they really acted exactly like the colonial administrators. And this is going on still now. We don't have a servant administration. It's not a clientele administration where it is focused on the people, on service provision. So people are only there for their pocket. And unfortunately, we have to change minds. We have to educate our people. We have to provide an education that really instill the love of the country, integrity into future leaders of the country to break away from this rampant corruption that is going on in Mali. It's a long process, but it is doable. We need to make sure that the people are committed to democratic values, that we celebrate the principles and values. Those are universal. We can't reject those because they come from the West. We adapt them to our reality, but it's the best form of governance because when we have a representative governance, people pick who they want to lead them, and their voices are heard. And that's what I have been promoting in Mali and making sure no conflict, but also speaking very loudly to the military, telling them that we cannot remain outside of democratic rule for too long. People need to build the habit of accountability, the habit of transparency and governance, and the habit of results. And as long as we follow those universal rules and principles of democracy and governance, I think that Mali can become a beacon in West Africa because we have all it takes in terms of resources, but what's lacking is the leadership. I was in Switzerland recently on a conference. The conference was on the scarcity of resources. And my intervention was that this is not my place because we don't know the scarcity of resources, but we know the scarcity of leadership. The West has the fire, we have the meat. Let's get together and do a barbecue where everyone will go away with a full belly instead of a relationship where they come and take our resources and take it, take the meat and hold on to the fire. So for me, the fire is the technology. The fire is the institutional arrangements that can be transferred to transfer of knowledge to Africa and also transforming our resources right there and adding values, creating jobs, and making such that we are equal partners in the development process, but also world peace.
Well, the thing is this isn't just like an idea.
Hmm.
The thing is you are making the relationships. You have the established relationships here in the US.
Hmm.
You have all of the minds needed. You have all the connections needed. Everything's there. Like you have a big cake that can be made and you have all the ingredients.
Hmm.
Really all
Not
you
just
need.
US. I have connections in Asia, India. My wife is from India, by the way, and I have this connection in Europe. I'm trying to establish relationship in China and other places because we cannot live in a bubble anymore. This is an interconnected world. You have to maximize your interests, your impact, and you cannot do that by closing doors. You open yourself. I do believe that Mali is ready for change. We've seen the worst out of uh, military regimes. This is not the first time. We've had several coups in the past. We had a 23 years of dictatorship in the country, so we know that those regimes cannot bring the happiness, the joy, and the development that is needed for human development in our country. Clearly, I'm committed to fighting for leadership, not for my own glory, not just for my privileges or accumulating resources or for my own pleasure. I want to do it because I treasure the people of my country. I know that they believe they deserve what you have here in America, even though most people have no idea
So
that
you
this
can't
kind of
comprehend it.
they can't comprehend it. I had no comprehension before I came to America. So, but little by little, we are educating people, sensitizing people, working with people. I've been bringing several mayors from rural areas to America for them to open their eyes and their horizon, for them to understand what leadership can mean for even a local community. Um, it is a process, but I think that people of Mali can rejoice um, the benefits of a good leadership within a short period of time, and incrementally we can change our lives, and everybody will know what real freedoms is, and that's my purpose.
Well, the people of Mali need to realize what you've given up because you're very humble,
Mm.
and I feel like
Mm.
being here in the U.S. doing what you've done, you've had probably so many opportunities to make a lot of money, to get
Mhm,
rich, to do
mhm.
whatever a lot of people might do if they were thinking selfishly, and you were willing, but you were inspired, and I feel like I can genuinely tell before you ever even came to the U.S.
Mm.
You're volunteer teaching, and you
Mhm.
just get a lot of joy from serving. And so to give that up and go back to Mali in one of the poorest cities and to see the change you've already seen and to take the connections that you already have and
Mm.
to see the growth there, it'll be incredible. I mean, there'll be books written on this, what you could do for the country as a whole.
Well, as I said, the result that uh, we can accomplish in Mali is my focus, and the happiness of the people is my focus. It's sad when I see how we are living under our privileges, how we are living under our potential in this country. It just makes me sad because we really people can attain incredible level of living that when I see lack of medical care, lack of quality education, lack of roads, lack of electricity, it's just incredible. We are in the 21st century. These should not be our concerns right now, but it is. And I am prepared to help solve these problems. And that's why nothing will discourage me from my engagement in serving the people.
Well, it's clear to me, you know how to do it. You
Mm.
know what needs to happen. And so I'm excited to see what happens and happy to help in any way. And
Mm.
really, thank you so much. This means a lot to me. Even you being willing to sit down and chat, like it's been an honor just hearing about
Well,
you
the
and what you're
honor
trying
is
to do.
mine too. I heard great things about you, and I think you also engage in doing wonderful things for your community. America is not a perfect land. There are a lot of things that need to be changed, and we need committed people. We need people with integrity to get involved in the political process, but also in the construction of the communities. We have to maintain transparency in not only local government, but also push for changes in the national government. Now, I'm apolitical in America. I don't have a political ideology, a Democrat or Republican. I'm just I'm an observer, and but what breaks my heart is the divisive politics in America. Americans need to understand that America is a thread that holds the world together. If it breaks, things will fall apart. And I hope that the founding fathers of this country meant politics to be an honest business, meant it to be a business of integrity. And without those ingredients, democracy doesn't work. And hopefully, through your actions and many others, we can change the way politics is going in this country.
In this country and in the world.
In the world, of course.
Where can people find you? Like, where if they want to so if people want to support financially to your foundation, your campaign, where can they follow you, hear more from you?
Well, Samake.com is my website, or empowermali.org is my organization. So people can contribute in many ways. We need volunteers. We need know-how. You are contributing significantly right now in bringing visibility to the work that we're doing. So we need talents. We need financial support. Go to empowermali.org or Samake.com.
You need tax write-offs. Send your money to them.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.